creepy-crawly critters of the inland Northwest. Besides wildlife, which we will discuss next week, this is probably one of my most favorite and interesting subjects, and one that I am always learning more about. Hi, I'm Mike Doggett from Windermere Real Estate City Group. For the last two segments of my Moving to Spokane series of videos, I will be covering subjects I have always found to be interesting, but may be a little bit creepy and crawly for some of you. This week we are covering insects, reptiles, and amphibians, most of which I have been able to photograph or videotape myself. Next week, for our final segment, we'll be covering one of my all-time favorite hobby and non-work activities, which is wildlife filming and viewing. I've experienced some pretty amazing encounters with both of these subjects, not all on video, that I will try to include in these two short videos. First, let's talk about insects. Insects have always been fascinating to me, and one of my earliest memories as a young boy was of trading a large beetle, I believe it was a Hercules beetle, for a folding bicycle while living on a Navy base in Pensacola, Florida. Unfortunately for me, once the parents found out about this trade, they got rid of the beetle and also took their bicycle back. Now, I'm not going to talk about every insect we have here, just the ones that I've had experience with. Insects like houseflies, yellow jackets, ants, and bees are pretty common, at least from what I have found. Something we periodically dealt with on the west side of the mountains are fleas that were usually brought in by one of our pets. Though we reportedly have fleas here in the inland Northwest, I have never personally seen them on a domesticated animal. In fact, the only time I have seen fleas on this side of the mountain was on a dead porcupine in the yard. What we do have that I abhor even more so than fleas are ticks. And during certain times of the year, they are abundant. On our property, we will usually start seeing them in the spring when temperatures get above 50 degrees, and they will stick around until July or when the temperature goes above 90 degrees. Living around wetlands, we have found ticks in the middle of August when out in damp and reedy areas. So we stay stocked up on our tick spray, and I will never go into the tall grass without at least spraying my pant legs and shoes. There is nothing worse than sitting down to eat dinner and feeling a tick crawl across your skin somewhere. Now that we have that bug from hell identified, let's talk about other insects. Spiders. We have most of the normal kinds of spiders you will find in most areas in this part of the country. I wouldn't say there are any bigger or any more prevalent than anywhere else. I have only found one black widow spider, and that was in an old structure I was tearing down. I have read we have scorpions, but I have never seen one, and I spend a lot of time turning over rocks and old wood. Now, moths and butterflies are pretty spectacular around here. As you can see by the pictures I took, we grow some pretty big ones around here. We also have hummingbird moths that really like our honeysuckle plant and other flowers. Beetles and other crawling insects. Pretty normal, at least from what I have seen. I have seen some pretty impressive larvae when cutting into old tree stumps, like in this picture, and some fairly big beetles, but I've also seen those same things in western Washington. My most favorite insect of all time, one that I never seen while in western Washington, is the praying mantis. You'll start seeing them if you look real close in the early summer, and around mid-August you will see the male mantis flying from one place to another. They seem to follow the activity of grasshoppers on our property, and in fact you will find them often chewing on one for lunch. Now let's briefly talk about snakes and amphibians. Though we reportedly have rattlesnakes, I have never seen one and have walked many trails in many different parts of the county. I have seen a lot of garter snakes, bull snakes, and most recently caught a rubber boa, all of which are non-venomous. We do have a lot of turtles, mainly around bodies of water. Frogs, salamanders, and lizards are about what I remember growing up in western Washington. Again, this information is based on my own experience. and or information I have gathered from different internet websites. If you see something that doesn't add up, want to add something, please let me know. Next week we are going to look at my favorite pastime subject, the viewing, photography, and videoing of wildlife in the Spokane County area. I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and if you have any additional questions about real estate or the home buying or selling process, you can comment below or contact me directly. I'd be honored to help guide you through the real estate process. Please share this with anyone you know who may be considering a move to our beautiful Spokane area. Once again, thanks for taking the time, and we'll talk to you soon.